Hello everyone. Um, the other day I was talking to my brother and we were discussing how stock markets are going to perform in future, what Federal Reserve is doing, how that will affect the stocks. And while we were having that discussion, for some reason I was trying to explain my brother calls and puts, and he was absolutely clear that whatever I was explaining him, he didn't understand, and not only he didn't understand, it seemed very complicated. So I thought I will do a video explaining calls and puts, basically options, uh, in really simple terms. So think of this video as like really it's a call and options for dummies, and I've tried to keep it as simple as possible just to make the concept very clear. So let's get started. Options are nothing but kind of financial instrument that can help you hedge against any price fluctuations. Now, price fluctuations in what? Price fluctuations in an asset class that may happen in future. Um, why would the price fluctuation will happen in an asset class in future? Well, it can happen because of any number of reasons. Let's take an example. Let's say coffee. Today I let's say I get my coffee for $30 a bag. Um, and if for some reason that bag in 6 months is going to cost me $60, and if I am aware that this may happen, then I would, instead of purchasing one bag or two bags, I would actually maybe try to make sure that I have enough bags for me to last for say a year, maybe two, uh, so I am not affected by those price increases. Now in this case, I am explaining a price increase on the higher side. Price increases can also affect you on the lower side as well, let's say. Now, if why would price increase happen in, let's say, coffee? It can happen because of any number of reasons. Let's say if crop gets destroyed, let's say majority of the coffee comes from Amazon or in Brazil, and crop got destroyed because of fires or because of too much rain, and there is too much supply, or sorry, too less supply, and thus prices have increased significantly. So on the flip side, if there is too is if the crop is very good, there is too much yield, and it's not just coming from Brazil, let's say it's also coming from other parts of the world, and there is a glut of coffee, so prices can decrease significantly, in which case I as a consumer, it may be really great because now I can get my same coffee for half the price, but it may not be really a good scenario for those who are selling the coffee. So whether it is a farmer or some sort of a middleman and so on and so forth, or a manufacturer who packages the coffee. So these are the kind of scenarios why you want to hedge against price fluctuations. Um, and calls are the type of options that are used to hedge against price increases, whereas puts can be used for hedge against price decreases. Now let's go through a scenario to understand it in a bit more detail. Let's introduce some characters. So let's start with me. So I am inviting my whole family for a Christmas dinner. Let's say I live in USA, and I am inviting my brother who lives in Canada, and I have done an assessment that I will be needing about 5 chickens for my Christmas dinner, and this is purely a chicken dinner, assuming if everyone who I am inviting is going to be there at the dinner party. Now there is another main character in this scenario, Mr. Larry, and Mr. Larry owns a chicken farm, and he lives right next door to me, and I go to him, or I call him if I need chickens in this much quantity. So I don't go to supermarket, I go call Mr. Larry. So if I have done an assessment that I'm going to need 5 chickens, and if each chicken costs me $10 as of today, then altogether I will have to pay Mr. Larry about $50. In this, so this is the simplest scenario. In this scenario, I am making certain assumptions that everyone who I'm inviting will be present. I will need 5 chickens to feed all of them, and if for any reason somebody doesn't show up, then I will end up wasting a lot of money, or some amount of money, but regardless, everything is being done in advance. So at market price, which is today, I am purchasing 5 chickens outright, which is going to cost me $50. So that's the simplest scenario. Now if my brother calls me and says that he may not be able to make it, or he may be able to make it, then I am in trouble. Why? Because nothing is certain. He may come, he may not come. So what do I do in this scenario? And the savior is a call option. So call option is nothing but an instrument that allows someone to purchase or buy something in future at a certain agreed price. So in this scenario, I can tell Mr. Larry that, Mr. Larry, I'm going to purchase 4 chickens from you, but because now my brother is saying that he may come or he may not come, I am going to have to purchase an option of buying 1 more chicken in future from you. Either that can be on the day of Christmas or maybe a day before the Christmas, but it will happen in future, not today. Today I'm just buying 4 chickens, but you will have to give me an IOU saying you owe me 1 chicken on XYZ date or a future date at a price of $10. So in other words, if I avail the option, and let's say on the day of Christmas or day before Christmas, my brother calls me from the airport saying, hey, I'm here, so I have to avail that option because I don't have enough chicken to feed the family. So I get in my car immediately, go to Mr. Larry and give him back the IOU, and I also give him $10 to buy one more extra chicken because that was the agreed price. Now this saves me from two things. One, the uncertainty that whether somebody will show up or not, and second, if on the day of Christmas there are other people who weren't also certain whether they will need chicken or not, prices can actually spike. But because the agreement between me and Mr. Larry was that he will have to sell me the chicken at $10, so I get it at the $10. Now in that case, when I avail that option, I have 5 chickens altogether, so 4 which were purchased in advance and the 5th on the day of Christmas or day before Christmas. So $50 for 5 chickens, plus $5 for the option that, or IOU, that he had to reserve a chicken for me, Mr. Larry. So $5 for that, and altogether $55 at cost, which is basically $11 per chicken. So I end up paying $5 extra, but I had a peace of mind, plus I also saved me from any price fluctuations. In the original scenario where I bought everything outright, I ended up paying only $50, but in this scenario slightly more, but I was able to address certain issues as well. Now what happens if I don't avail the option? In other words, the option expires. Then I only have 4 chickens which I paid in advance, $5 for paying for the IOU or option, $45 altogether, $11.25 per chicken, but I saved $5 as well. So if my brother doesn't call me or he doesn't show up on the dinner, then I save $5 as well, which in the original scenario, if I had purchased all 5 chickens in advance, I would have paid $50. So this is how options can help you hedge in these certain scenarios. Now this $5, where am I coming up with this $5? The $5 where I'm coming up with this is what we call, option premium or cost of option. Why $5? Why is it not $10? Well, that's simple. If the option is $10 and if my today's price of chicken is $10, then there is no point of purchasing the option, because I can just purchase the extra chicken today, and even if I have to throw it, I can throw it because that option is not really saving me anything. So that premium has to be in that sweet spot where it really makes sense to me. It is helpful to me. So if it was $7, yes, then also it helps you save at least $3. But as the cost of option goes up, there is not much of an advantage. If the cost of option was only $2, then that would have been fantastic, because then you are just reserving an extra chicken for yourself by paying only $2 extra. So that's a call option. So now comes the another character, and that's my sister. So she calls me. Oh, actually, I wrote brother anticipate the situation. No, that should be me, not brother. So that's my mistake, but nevertheless. So she calls me few days before Christmas, and let's say that she lives in Australia, and I ask her, "You happy with the menu?" And she's like, "What do you mean by menu?" So I get a bit irritated, and I tell her, I sent you an invite, and it had a menu and all that jazz. And she said, yeah, I replied and I RSVP'd without looking at menu. And then she says that, she doesn't like chicken. So that is a bit annoying, but I anticipated the situation because, of course, I know her, and I know that she doesn't like chicken. I mean, she doesn't. It's not like she doesn't like chicken, but she doesn't overly like it. I mean, she likes other meats, let's say, more than chicken. So I anticipated that, but I had already purchased some chickens outright. So what do you do in that scenario? So that's where the put options can help you. Now, put option is nothing but an instrument that allows someone to sell something in future at a certain agreed price. So while the call option allows you to purchase something in future at an agreed price, put option allows you to sell something in future at an agreed price. Now, to keep this one simple, let's take my brother's non-committal out of this scenario. Let's keep it simple. Let's just let's just keep it to my sister's not liking of chicken only in this scenario, and so I purchased 5 chickens outright because my brother had committed, and my sister had also RSVP'd, and I hadn't spoken to her until that point. So I had purchased 5 chickens outright, but because I anticipated that she might throw a tantrum, I purchased an option of selling one back to Mr. Larry. So I paid $50 at $10 per chicken. I also paid him $5 extra to buy a put contract, and which allows me to sell one chicken back to Mr. Larry at $10 price. So altogether I'm paying him $55 at $11 per chicken. So if I don't avail the option, or option expires, in other words, I don't sell it back to Mr. Larry, and my brother also show up, and my sister also doesn't throw a tantrum, then I'm able to use all 5 chickens, and it's going to cost me $5 extra compared to a scenario where I had purchased only 5 chickens outright. But with this $55, I have a peace of mind that should my sister throws a tantrum, I can take one chicken back to Mr. Larry and give it to him at $10. It also saved me from a scenario where, if for any reason there are a lot of sisters like my sister which threw tantrum on the day of Christmas, and Mr. Larry is inundated with requests of selling back those chickens back to him. So prices of chickens go down significantly. But because we agreed, because I purchased a put contract instead of just showing up on Mr. Larry's door, uh, he will have to purchase it from me at $10 agreed price. So it saves me from any price fluctuation on downside as well, while paying some extra cost upfront. But if for some reason I avail the option, then I have only 4 chickens left, so $40, $5 for paying the option cost, $45 altogether at $11.25 per chicken. But I also ends up saving $5 because if I had purchased only 5 chickens outright, that would have costed me $50. But now uh, I have taken 1 chicken back to Mr. Larry, so he had to give me back $5, $45 of the initial cost, and saved $5. So this is how you can hedge your future situation as well. So last one is I have mixed both call and put option together, and this is again very unrealistic scenario. Not that I'm saying that any of the scenario I discussed before were realistic as well. They were all made up stories. However, this is even more bizarre. But just for the completeness sake, I have kept it here. And it also can kind of gives an idea. You can mix and match things, mix and match these options. So this is a scenario where, let's say, on just before the Christmas, my brother calls me from airport and says that he is here. Now I only initially purchased only 4 chickens, and I need one more to cover for everyone. So I immediately get in the car. I go to Mr. Larry's farm and ask him, hey, I purchased a call option on one of the chicken, so I'm calling it, and give me 1 chicken. So he says, yes, you have I give me that IOU, and we agreed on $10 price. So here is your chicken. Give me $10. So I give him back his IOU and give him $10 extra for 1 chicken. That was the agreed price. So and I get in my car, and I'm back. I'm coming back home to prepare the dinner. And while I'm on my way, my sister calls me and says, hey, I don't like chicken. You need to do something else. So she throws a tantrum while I have just picked a chicken from Mr. Larry. So because I anticipated that situation as well, now I turn my car around. I go back to Mr. Larry again and tell him, hey, Mr. Larry, I also purchased a put option to sell 1 chicken back to you, and here is the IOU, and here is the chicken I just purchased. You agreed to buy it from me at $10 as well. So here you go. Whatever I have remaining at home will be plenty. So in other words, my recent transactions have kind of even out, because I paid $10 for purchasing 1 chicken for my brother, but I sold one chicken back to him at this $10 price to Mr. Larry because of my sister. So my current transactions have even out, but all the money that I paid in the initial transactions is still valid. And what is that cost? That was four $10 chickens for $40, one call option for $5, one put option for $5, altogether $50 for 4 chickens, and that comes out to $12.5 per chicken. Now again, as I said, this is not a realistic scenario because you wouldn't be buying call and put for the same thing on the same day. It doesn't make any sense. But again, this is just to give an idea that how they are used. So hopefully this should make calls and puts very clear. In the real world scenario, as I was explaining earlier, this is exactly how they work, and they are used to, they were started to hedge against future price fluctuations only, especially like wheat or crop, any other crop basically, or some sort of a scenario where you anticipate that prices will fluctuate because, let's say, of a war scenario, in a certain part of the world, and certain goods or services are provided or come from only that part of the world, then that the war sort of situation will affect the prices either on the upside or on the low side, so you can buy calls and puts to hedge against those situations. So this was a really long video, I think, but hopefully this made everything very clear in simplistic terms. If this wasn't clear enough, please ask questions in the comment section below, and I will try to answer those. Please subscribe, share, like, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.